Mrs Clarke, Ms Leyden, special guests, members of the SGB, past learners from Westville Girls High School, staff and ladies. Today is both a special yet a very sad day. It is always a wrench to say goodbye to members of staff who have served the school with the kind of distinction that Mrs Clarke and Ms Leyden have served the school. But it is very much a celebration of everything that they have done for us and of everything that they have meant to us. So I know that Ms Leyden will get quite irritated with me, because when we had Ms Johnston as principal, Ms Johnston used a lot of quotations. A lot, like yay lot. But I do feel that, and I will explain this later when I have a chance to talk a little bit longer, that some of these quotations I have chosen really do apply. So I'm going to quote William Arthur Ward, and this applies to both these fine women. The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, the great teacher inspires. And I will leave that hanging. Mrs Clarke, there are 4 of your grade 11s who would like to say a word. Could I call up Cassandra, Hannah, Jordan, and Amy Lee, please?
Can I take my mask off?
Please.
Okay. Okay. Hello and a warm welcome to my fellow students, staff and special guests here today. Today is a sad day for both past and present pupils as well as the staff of the WGHS, as we bid farewell to a well-respected and respected teacher and a pillar of our WGHS community, Mrs Clarke. I feel privileged to stand here today to share a couple of things we will miss most about Mrs Clarke. Mrs Clarke, you're the most inspiring woman and teacher I've had over this last year. You've helped develop my love for the life sciences this past year whilst I've been in your class. You have taught me to always question everything and to never just accept what one says is the truth. Thank you for teaching me that marks aren't everything and that school is actually for brain development. Thanks for always putting a smile on my face no matter how my day was going. I don't think I left a bio class this year without having laughed or been taught a valuable life lesson that I'll never forget. There's so much more I could possibly talk about, but unfortunately we don't have the time. I'm sure we could all be here until next week talking about the amazing person Mrs Clarke is. For everything, I'm extremely grateful.
There are so many aspects of Mrs Clarke that make up this amazing teacher and person that she is. She has made a huge impact on those around her, as well as influencing her students in the best way possible. I've been in Mrs Clarke's biology class for 2 years now, and I can proudly say that each and every lesson is so enjoyable to take part in. Having a lesson with Mrs Clarke was never boring, and was something I looked forward to every day. Aside from her great sense of humor, she would teach biology with such passion that one couldn't resist listening to her. She captivated the class within seconds and made the lesson so interesting, no matter what section we were on. She is quite inspiring, and that passion that she taught with really helped me to enjoy the subject even more. Mrs Clarke was one to always encourage us to do our best and would congratulate us when she acknowledged the hard work we had put in, even though if we felt it wasn't good enough. And that truly motivated me to persevere and push myself to achieve my goals in the future. So thank you, Mrs Clarke, for making the past 2 years the most memorable for me and for the great impact that you've had on the Westville Girls High School community.
Mrs Clarke, just to reiterate what the others who have said, thank you for being the teacher that constantly motivates your students to be better in every test, every day, that encourages us to reach our full potential, but always making an effort to congratulate us. Thank you for being the teacher that always makes biology a fun subject and making sure we engage every lesson, making us actually think what we're doing. You're the teacher that has made me want to pursue biology after school. You were the teacher that has always checked in on me, making sure I was always all right. You always gave your full support to all of your learners. Thank you, Ms. Clarke, for your time. We will all miss you.
Mrs. Paul, I have asked her to say a few words.
Good afternoon to everyone. A very special welcome to Marie, Mrs. Clarke, your mum, Mrs. Herbst, Sister Delia, and your special boys, Andrew and Sean, and invited guests, Jane, Lily, and Kim. So, what do we call a person who is happy on a Monday? Retired. And that's exactly why we're here. All right, to celebrate a fabulous retirement for a very special person. It's hard to believe this day has finally come. It is therefore fitting to acknowledge and celebrate your contribution, Marie, to the bio department and the excellent years of service you have offered the school. I have it on good authority that it was 39 years ago that Mrs. Clarke arrived at Westville Girls High, together with her bottled preserved specimens, and began teaching in room 159, which is Mr. Moodley's current lab. She then later moved to lab 65 with her specimens and has remained there ever since. The specimens, however, don't look as good as Mrs. Clarke does at this point. Accomplished, inspiring, creative, resilient, industrious are a few adjectives I use to describe you. Perhaps I could include scary too, as being a rather strict disciplinarian, especially with the juniors, instilled a little bit of terror into them. You are an absolute tower of strength and knowledge. Mrs. Clarke has a phenomenal mind, scalpel sharp, and an amazing memory. You don't have to panic if the internet is down, because she is an excellent Google substitute. Even the elephants would be envious of her memory capacity. Although of late, I might add, there may be a few faulty neurons misfiring, considering the setting of the wrong exam paper and a printing of one. She loves the mental challenge to dissect it with precision, whether it is in the compilation of the school timetable manually, way back in the days with Raymond Kamal, or when marking the scientific process questions in an exam, Sudoku, or escape room puzzles. You definitely want her on your side when playing general knowledge games, like 30 seconds, for example. Otherwise, be prepared to meet your doom. Mrs. Clarke has been hugely instrumental in developing an amazing, absolutely amazing biology department over the years. You have been both the nucleus, the control center, and the mitochondrion, the energy powerhouse of the department. We are truly indebted and grateful to you for the many ways in which you have done so. For example, many years ago, you managed to convince the management of the school to purchase the more expensive compound microscopes over the normal government ones. Also, for the huge task you undertook in making of the numerous PowerPoint presentations when we moved from the use of overhead projectors, some of you don't even know what I'm talking about, to the use of the data projectors. We also pay tribute to you for your excellent organizational skills in setting up the fossil tour to Gauteng. We know it took an enormous amount of work and dedication, which again is an example of your passion for biology. You have also been involved in the development of life science as a subject by sitting on various committees at both provincial and national level and working your way up from marker to chief marker at the NSC Marking Centre. And how did she achieve this? Because Mrs. Clarke, firstly, is addicted to work. She is an absolute workaholic. Secondly, she always questions everything. Her hand is always raised, quick as a flash, to pose her question. Thirdly, she always strives for excellence. Mediocrity is not acceptable to her. Excellence and hard work is what she expects from her learners. She loves to extend her learners' minds beyond the confines of the syllabus. She enjoys learners actively engaging with her in the classroom and gets very frustrated when girls are not interactive in her lessons. And she will often say, I quote, "I feel like I'm talking to the potatoes at Checkers." You have been very inspirational to many learners over the years. Talented teachers are hard to find. You have groomed many learners to become skilled professionals and made learning an interesting and memorable experience. Many learners have pursued careers in various fields of life science, and as a result of your love and passion and for and in nature. We have our own Dr. de Velsen as an example, and my daughter, who was also taught by Mrs. Clarke, fondly recalls how you were most emphatic about how we as humans need to be custodians of the earth. Because by taking care of the earth, we are taking care of ourselves. And staying with the nature theme, which animal do you think represents a teacher best? Do you know? It's a wolf. And why? Because they are regarded as pathfinders, the teacher, the sharing of knowledge, and always on a never-ending journey. Biology gives you a brain, but life turns it into a mind. Very apt for Mrs. Clarke, don't you think? Good teachers are the reason why ordinary students dream to do extraordinary things. Your teachings will forever be treasured, and your contribution to the lives of your learners, as well as your colleagues, can never be measured. The knowledge that you have shared is priceless. We have been so fortunate to have your expertise to rely on. You have inspired your colleagues, both past and present, and we thank you for the many years teaching alongside us. We salute you for being exceptional. Thank you for the decades of hard work and dedication. You are one of those colleagues we will not forget. Unique and most certainly difficult to replace. You leave a wonderful legacy behind. And as a chapter closes in your life and a new one starts for you, may your years be filled with all the things you're looking forward to. It is said that retirement is like a blank sheet of paper. It is a chance to redesign your life into something new and different. Enjoy doing nothing without worrying about getting caught at doing it. So in conclusion, a quick brain teaser. What did the cell say when his sister stepped on his foot? Do you know, Mrs. Clarke? My toe, sis. Congratulations, Marie, on your retirement. Thank you.
So the fossil tour is not where Mrs. Johnson and Miss Leyden go away, all right? Mrs. Clarke, my quote for you, the best teachers are those who show you where to look, but don't tell you what to see. And I've chosen that quote because I do believe that is exactly what you do. And that is what makes you so loved as an educator. And the word inspire has come up again and again and again. so inspirational as a teacher. 38 years, 39 years is a very long time to be at one school. Some people would say, oh, well, you know, just got stuck. But that would be offensive, I think, because, you know, there's this assumption that if you're a teacher, you can't do anything else, which is simply untrue. Many teachers who have left the profession, sadly, and gone out into industry and other areas of work, and we have lost some fine, brilliant minds as a consequence. I would like to think that Mrs. Clarke remained at Westville Girls High because she still found it a challenge and still loved what she did at the school, and more importantly, completely bought into the ethos of the school. That's what I'd like to think. I've spent many times with Mrs. Clarke talking to her about many things. In my first 11 years at the school, we chatted a lot, not just about work issues, but other stuff. I've spent time with Mrs. Clarke since I have returned, and my admiration for her remains. So when we go to those responses on Facebook, this is what we hear. Mrs. Clarke was a fantastic, unforgettable teaching supervisor. I learned so much from her wisdom, passion, and dedication. May all educators learn from her example. Mrs. Clarke, I loved her. What a brilliant biology teacher. It's because of her I can help my son now with life sciences. Still remember so much of what she taught me. An inspirational teacher, class of 94. Mrs. Clarke, 100% love. Honestly, the best teacher I could have asked for. One of the people that makes me miss high school, as mischievous as I was. I feared that woman. Most importantly, I respected her. Always going the extra mile with schoolwork and leaves no note unturned. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. And then a letter that arrived on my desk from a past pupil who learnt of Mrs. Clarke's retirement. Hi there. I'm a past pupil who matriculated in 2014, and I just really want to share this story with you about Mrs. Clarke. I had a car accident where my dad and I were hit by a drunk driver. I was in hospital for months and had to take a lot of time off school. After 4 months of school, I came back to my final term in grade 11. Everyone, including my dad, told me to repeat grade 11 because of the time I missed, but I begged for them to trust that I could do it. They finally agreed to let me matriculate with my year. 2014 came. I was diagnosed with severe ADHD and I was failing pretty much all my classes. But Mrs. Clarke opened her door when I came knocking with tears in my eyes that I'm going to fail and everyone would be right. Instead, Mrs. Clarke told me to come back to her classroom tomorrow during biology because from now on, she was going to be my teacher. She helped me when I couldn't understand. She laughed with me when I felt ridiculous. And she cared for me when I couldn't cope. And she celebrated with me when I started getting straight A's in 1 month. I went from 38% average to an 80% average. She saved me. Through her, I found my love for biology to a point where she saw an eagerness in me to learn. I didn't need extra lessons anymore, but she sent me anyway because I just wanted to keep learning. I found my love for learning through her, and that's what makes her the absolute greatest at what she does. She learnt with me. It's been an honor to work with you. And I wish you all the very best.
Yeah, it's finally arrived, eh? I've been dreading this final goodbye for so long. Mr. Antide, thank you for the opportunity to speak for a short while. After being here nearly 40 years, this is a daunting thing. I'm not emotionally ready to just leave. I'm still trying to process all this. I'll use my sister Delia as an inspiration here. Delia over there is a statistician, an international statistician, I will have you know, a very good one. And she is of the opinion that you don't complain about things. If you can fix it, you fix it. If you can't fix it, you cope with it. But either way, don't burn. So you're right, sis. I can't do a darn thing about the situation that I'm in. As Mr. Antide would say, it is what it is. I can't change that. But what I can change is my attitude. If the only variable under my control is my attitude, then I better work with that. That's all I've got. So I choose happy. If all I can do is change my attitude, then I reckon, okay, I'm going to carry on reading because reading is brain food. I'm going to read everything. I'm going to play a lot of tennis. I'm going to walk so much with Lily, I can't tell you. My friend Lily over there, the fittest granny in the country, girl. You ain't seen nothing. I don't know how many thousands of kilometers Lily and I have done together on the roads. She's amazing, absolutely inspirational. Thank you for being here today. My boys, I'm so proud of both of you. Thank you for the massive, massive support you were in my life. And thank you for the achievements that made your mama so proud. My mom is honestly the strength in my life. We've all got such respect for the way that she coped when my dad died. My father left us at the age of 47. He was very young. My mom was 40, she was widowed with 4 kids, and she hadn't worked since she had me. Well, she made it work, huh? You're strong, Mom. You are so strong. We have massive respect for you. And Kim at the end there, thank you so much for coming. Kim is the only past pupil that I've asked to be here as a special guest because our lives seem to have been so intertwined. It's amazing. When I had her in my class in the 1980s, it was like I was impressed by who she was because she was such a sincere person. She was one of those kids that you think like, wow, this just radiates sincerity. This is the kind of girl that people will one day trust with their lives. It's just like, I can't get over how nice you are. The sincerity of it is just phenomenal. As it turns out, she had 3 daughters. I taught all 3 of them. Her eldest daughter married my son's tennis partner. Her second daughter is engaged to my son's business partner. I mean, really? It's like incestuous. So, Kimmy and I have come a long way, and I have great respect for her and her family, and it's just amazing that she could be here. I'm very pleased about that. Right. Talking about passions, ladies, my great passions in life are science and art. I don't know how many of you know that I enjoy art. I really, really do. I just haven't had a chance to do any of it for so long. So now that I've got more time, I'm going to get back into sketching. I'm going to get back into watercolor. Geez, it's hard. Watercolor is the hardest medium in the world. I can keep hearing this little art teacher saying, don't dab, dear. Don't dab, because watercolor, you want to just like do a bit more. Don't. Do it once and kry klaar, man. And then I'm going to do some acrylic pours because they are just such fun. You know, talking about passion, one of my biggest passions has been mental development in teenagers. I cannot tell you what an incredible feeling it is taking a teenager who's a lazy little thing in grade 10. She's getting like 52 and she's quite happy with that. I think like, what? Nothing wrong with your mind, girl. Let's sort this lot out. And by encouraging and cajoling and giving examples and doing what I have to do, threatening if I have to, I'll get that kid 15, 20% more than she was in grade 10. And they think like, wow. And suddenly, you can see those little cogs clicking into each other, and the child suddenly realizes school is not about the facts. It's not about the facts. Nobody out there in industry is going to ask you how your kidneys work. Nobody's going to ask you whether you can find the metaphor in this paragraph. Nobody's going to wonder whether Napoleon met Hitler in that Russian winter. Sorry, Miss Layden, I had to put that out there. She once told us that some child had said Napoleon had met Hitler in the Russian winter, and it's the funniest thing I've ever heard because it was a century apart. I mean, like, seriously? Okay, so it's not about the facts, it's about the skills, it's about the brain development, it's about the things other than the facts. That's what's important about school. You are sitting in one of the best schools in the country, girl. You got to grab that. You got to grab that opportunity and realize, you know what, I've got a chance that so many other kids have not had. I have to use this. I've got to make it work for me. I'm only here for 5 years. Well, most of you anyway. The occasional one hangs in a bit longer than that. We also need you girls to find your own passion. Find something that gives you such a thrill you can't believe they're actually paying you for this. If you haven't found it yet, you will one day. Just have a rethink about something you're already enjoying. If you only enjoy music, well, go into something in the musical field. If you can't be a performer, maybe you can be a video artist. Maybe you can be an audio engineer. You can do whatever the hell, but you can do something in the music industry because that's where your happy place is. But remember also, girls, that every job you do is going to have some aspects that you don't like. Like, I'm not a big fan of end-of-term admin. Really, I don't like it. I'll be very happy to get rid of the batting as well. It was actually quite nice. Mrs. Bowen got hold of me at the end of last week to say, I'll need batting on Monday. I said, that's your baby, girl. I am not doing Monday. You can start from Monday. Oh, okay. She took over the batting. So, I mean, what I'm saying about every job has some negative stuff that just comes with the territory. You could be the best sales lady on the team, where your happy place is the interaction with people. You love the interaction with people. You can guide people to get the best product or house or whatever you're selling, and they trust you. You've developed a gut instinct for who is actually going to buy and who's just looking. So you know when to go big push for the sale. But at the end of the day, girl, there's the paperwork, and hell, you hate the paperwork, but it comes with the territory. You think, well, okay, teaching has some aspects that are freaking awful, like the end of term stuff, but the rest of it is so good. It's worth it. So I want to thank you, ladies, for being the reason why I got out of bed for the last 42 years. I'm greatly indebted to the biology department, my life science ladies, and Byron and Vinay that helped out. Greatly indebted to you for the tremendous work that you've done. And I honestly believe I've been working with what anybody else would call the dream team. I mean it. They are phenomenal, all of them. We don't have a single life science teacher who is average. They are unbelievable. Girl, you're going to be fine. We're all going to be fine. It just takes some adjustment. I also want to thank the staff very much for being nice about the fact that I had to make batching changes or invigilation changes. You know, you can't believe how fast that invigilation timetable has to change sometimes. Where somebody tells us into period 3, I've got permission to go home right now, I'm invigilating in 5, please find someone else. I think like, what? Now it's period 4 and I've got to tell some poor person she's invigilating in the next lesson. Well, I'm sorry, you know. And invariably, the staff were so nice about it. Nobody actually attacked me. It was an amazing thing. Ladies, don't you ever think your teachers are chilling over weekends? See, we're not. We are working our butts off to make sure you get the best possible chance at doing well. And that's where my life science department deserves such respect, because we've had some insane deadlines in the past. They'll know what I'm talking about. Where we get a paper in on Friday and we've got to have it finished by Tuesday the next week. And everybody sits the whole weekend, whether you've got a sick child or not, you're doing your marking. I've had people cancel important engagements to be able to do their marking. Now that's dedication. See, it doesn't happen in too many other schools. So I thank all of you for enriching my life, ladies. Thank you very much. Namaste.
I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of Mrs. Rathan, as I have to go and start the final matric exam. And I will see our special guests and the wonderful two women whom we are sadly saying goodbye to upstairs. Mrs. Rathan will end the events. And thank you for your patience, ladies. You will soon be dismissed.
Thank you, Mr. Antad. I'm just going to ask Mrs. Maskell to come up and give me a hand, and I'll ask Mrs. Clarke to please come forward and receive some gifts. And this is on behalf of the staff, the ladies, the girls, the support staff, everybody that loves and cares about you, Marie. We have loved having you at the school. You are truly a legend to all of us. Please accept this with the greatest gratitude and all of our love. So ladies, you learned this. That's the nice thing about having a young man.